Hello, I'm Hayden Bloomfield and welcome to the channel. 6 reasons Tesla will be worth $10 trillion. So Tesla right now is trading around about just over $1,000 a share with a market cap of around $1 trillion, fluctuating above and just below. We've seen it peak at about 1.2 trillion. So I want to dive into why Tesla will become eventually a $10 trillion company. And I'll put a little spin at the end of when I think they might be able to reach that. So let's jump in. Reason number 1. Robo-taxis. So the whole concept of robo-taxis is when we have self-driving cars, we will be able to, if you think of like Lyft and Uber, that kind of service where you just jump on your phone, order a taxi, someone comes and picks you up, takes you to your destination, it will be the exact same service. However, the human driver will be eradicated from the equation, and therefore you will just have a self-driving car that will pick you up and take you to your destination, which will lead on to, with having a robo-taxi service, I'll do another video on the different types of robo-taxis I can foresee coming in the future when we have self-driving cars. There's been different estimations on what the potential value of this, looking at what taxis as a service are worth, what Lyft and Uber, those companies have started to become worth. But when you are able to eradicate the human within the service, the most expensive component of actually paying someone, yes, you've got to purchase the car however you do that, but once you've got the service rolling, those rolling costs, the actual human driver is the most expensive component when you compare it to fuel. Well, especially if we've got electric vehicles, the electrical costs and the wear and tear is so minimal compared to what that wage would need to be for that human driver. So if we can eradicate that from the equation, it opens up a huge market and becomes much more affordable for people to be able to have robo-taxis. And then as a fleet, if you've got millions upon millions, tens of millions of vehicles that can all just with the flick of a button become robo-taxis, that opens the floodgates for Tesla, given that if they are the first and one of the only companies to reach a point where they can service humanity with robo-taxis, that will just jump their market value, jump the revenues, jump the profit margins. Given that this is all software based, the hardware is already in the car, so it's just a flick of a switch with software. You're then looking at incredibly high margin, incredible profits to come from transport as a service with robo-taxis. Reason number 2 to link on from robo-taxis is just Fsd Software as a whole, the full self-driving software. That then, if you imagine, once we've got a company that has unlocked that and created the neural network capable of providing full self-driving without the need for a human to interact to a point where we are leaps and bounds above human safety levels, then for other companies, what is it going to be worth? Is it worth them trying to create some sort of competing software, or are they better off just licensing that software off of Tesla in order to have their own robo-taxis or their own renditions of what they'll do with the full self-driving capabilities? Not to mention that this could be applied into all sorts of other industries as well, not just transport as a service. Cast your mind on what would companies be willing to pay for, and what value would that put on a company that is the proprietor of that technology and that software that is capable of allowing other companies with vehicles to just license that software in order to be able to have their own full self-driving vehicles. And I think this is one of the biggest paradigm shifts that's coming within humanity that we'll see in the next few years. Maybe I should do another video on paradigm shifts, but one of the key criteria is the way that we think of transport, that is going to completely change. We're seeing a revolution at the moment transitioning to EVs as opposed to ICE vehicles, internal combustions. With global sales, I think the latest data I've seen is we're hitting now 10% of global sales are now EVs. Compare that to only like a couple of years ago, you were looking at fractional percentages, not even 1%. So with that transition, we'll start to see another sort of paradigm shift or paradigm leap into this new revolution of where we are no longer as humans behind a steering wheel driving a car. Thirdly, and one that's reason number 3, one that is less known to people unless you're really quite into Tesla and do study it, is auto-bidder software. So the concept of this and what it is, there's sort of rudimentary operations of auto-bidder software that exist in the world today. But what auto-bidder is the case of, if you were to have like Tesla solar power, Tesla battery pack at your home, if you imagine sort of your whole neighborhood, your whole town, your whole country, the whole world, a great population of people, when we transition to sustainable energy and you've got solar panels everywhere, renewable energy everywhere, and then battery storage, auto-bidder is basically the software that can bounce between all of the different areas where the energy is being created to monitor what the energy levels are in different sectors and who's got a high energy consumption going on at a certain point and who's at low consumption, who's being able to bring in a lot of energy. If you imagine there's a town where there's a lot more sunshine compared to a town that's, well, like my town in England, that's often raining and quite cloudy, so it generates, you will never generate as much solar power compared to if you are in somewhere like the Sahara Desert or California. Not that that's similar. Anyway, the Untitled basically is just the software that is jumping between all of these, analysing the data to see where the energy needs to be, where the energy is being used in order to fluctuate the pricing and to basically distribute energy in a way that is efficient, swift, and seamless. There is I have a very provincial knowledge of this, but to my understanding is this kind of ability to monitor energy levels and be able to see where it needs to be boosted and what's got a large consumption at the moment, and to predict that. That software does exist, not to the scale of Ultraviolet, but that is complemented hugely by the fact that we will be able to have our own home production of energy. Number 4, the Tesla bot. So when we first saw the Tesla bot coming out, the idea of this humanoid robot, I thought it was amazing. It looks really cool. It seemed something that's far away yet, and I still agree it is far away. However, the other challenge I had mainly was just a case of, if you're building robots, why would you build something so generalised when humans aren't perfect for the jobs we do? You think, why wouldn't you build robots specific to certain tasks in order to, if you're going to replace a certain job, we'll create a robot that does it specifically for that task. However, I did notice the opportunity and the huge opportunity that is there for the Tesla bot, in the sense that it's a generalised purpose robot that can handle the tasks and duties that humans do. So the concept being that the first tasks that they'll start to undertake and replace humans for are those that are dangerous, repetitive, and monotonous, so that we as humans do not have to do the dangerous, repetitive, or boring work. To create a robot that is generalised as a human, it then can go straight into an environment. If you take a factory, for example, or an oil rig, well, we wouldn't need oil rigs, what a stupid idea. If you take some sort of situation where you have got humans working and you want to replace them and take the humans out of that scenario, rather than having to develop robots specifically for that task, you'd have a generalised robot that's capable of doing the actions and has artificial general intelligence in order to be able to act and think to the level of human or superior. You can then just, without having to make any changes, take the humans out of the situation and put the robots in, and they'll be able to take over straight away with that sort of induction period. That does sort of open the door, I wonder, in the future, is there going to be the issue of, or will it be a thing where you have robots start taking over humans, but then as that develops, you start to then specialise the robots into that sector and that situation, and you'd start to see factories that are changing. Because if you look at even just like the way cars are built, if you look at the factories that existed 70 years ago, compare them to today, we are developing specialised robots for certain situations, and then those factories are built with that in mind, with the robots in mind, not with humans in mind specifically. Obviously, humans still operate within the factory, but there are sections that are built for the robots. Moreover, there is the opportunity for the Tesla bot as becoming more than just a labourer within the economy, and that then opens the door for like companionship, in the sense of robots will in the future be able to develop sort of personality traits and become, well, you almost see where they won't be so perfect, there'll be those little subtle imperfections that make them so connectable with us. You see in the film I, Robot with Will Smith, you'll sort of see there where you start to see this rollout of NS5s into every home at the end of the film. Like, ignore the fact of when Vicky decides to take over the world, spoiler alert. Still, there's the opportunity there for the companionship to have humans living side by side with robots, to start to fill in the void of loneliness. Although you do wonder, like, why as humans can't we be more of a community rather than putting everybody in separate homes individually? In addition, the Tesla bot, if we are able to replace humans in the world of labour, and you're able to mass produce robots on a phenomenal scale, you then will start to break the limitations of the global economy. And therefore, if we've got a global economy of, I think it's around $100 trillion now, if you are able to break the barriers in what we are capable of achieving with labour through technology and the Tesla bot, you then start to exponentially increase the global economy. If you're the one company responsible for increasing the global economy on a mass level, then imagine what your market cap's going to be. And that's, part of me wonders why, if things do go well, you could see that 10 trillion is just the beginning. Huh? Reason number 5 is probably where you get a bit scared with Big Brother coming into the whole situation, or you start think along the lines of like Google and Facebook with their sort of spying eyes. Reason number 5 is data collection and sort of real life street view, live street view as such. With Tesla's ever expanding fleet globally, once you reach a point where Teslas are sort of around the globe on a mass scale into the hundreds of millions of vehicles, what you'll then start to have is they are robots on wheels with cameras as a 360 view. You've then got that data that you could access to create your own Google Street View, but as a real life update. So you could say, is it raining in town? Let me just be able to access the Tesla data to see if it's raining in town or not, and now I know I can pop in there. Or you could start to look at fashion. What are the trends at the moment in Milan or in Paris? What are people wearing so that I design my next range? Even for local councils to start asking questions of where are the potholes? Have we got any pothole issues within the town or the region that we need to address? And then you could have the software trained to pick up these issues to then go around, or even start to monitor litter, tree inspections, all manner of different things, highways, lawns, grass verges, when do they need mowing, all these different things. You've then got access to the data, which is terrifying in its own respects. But on the other hand, the utilitarian factor of that, when you consider all the possibilities, just let your imagination roll on for 10 minutes and you soon start to think of some crazy ideas of how it could be so beneficial to have that. Even missing persons. I think there's a TV show called like Persons of Interest where they sort of demonstrate how capable software is and technology and cameras especially of picking up people. But if you imagine if you have got an issue with someone missing, you'd be able to pick up the last clips of them and follow their sort of view of where they went. And additionally, just people, as you started seeing with Teslas, their own safety features in the sense that this is not really going to make it a 10 trillion company. However, just the huge benefit of having the security and safety of knowing you've got cameras 360 around your vehicle. If something does happen, you've literally got the person on camera and you can speak to them through your phone, through your car. So there we go, 5. We're now on the final. What is the 6th reason I can see Tesla becoming a 10 trillion, I can't even say it, it's not even in my vocabulary. What is the 6th reason for Tesla becoming a $10 trillion company? And this is another reason that I think is hugely underestimated, and it's not well known, and it doesn't, while it exists, or in its rudimentary aspect exists, its full capabilities is nowhere near. I'm not even sure the team at Tesla have the full understanding of what the capabilities could be. I can't even fathom what they will be. And this is something that will be able to be rolled out to the entire world, to other companies like B2B, B2C, maybe not B2C, but definitely B2B. I can imagine on a minor scale, B2C as well. And that is Dojo as a service. If you don't know what Dojo is, I'm going to make my attempts to explain, but it's basically Tesla's computer that they've built. To get the best answer, please do watch Tesla's AI Day that they had in last year, 2020. 2020, oh my God, what year were we in? Last year in 2021. It was last year, yeah. Watch Tesla's AI Day because that was just mind-blowing. I didn't understand half of what was being said and what was going on, and it blew my mind completely. So make sure to give that a watch and you will understand what Dojo is. And then you've got Dojo as a service of the neural network, machine learning, basically AI training tool that can be, again, it's software that can be licensed out to other companies in order to train their own AI, their own machine learning, and develop their own artificial intelligence within their sectors to expand on the global operations of AI in a world where we live with AI and with potentially artificial general intelligence. And Dojo as a service is something that, when you start to amalgamate these 6 points, if you've got the labour force replaced with workers that don't get hungry, don't want breaks, don't lose concentration, are fully focused and can work at their peak performance levels constantly, barring a few bits of maintenance that they'll need, and you're able to mass produce these workers on an incredible scale into the millions and tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. When you combine that with the ability to train all manners of different artificial intelligence in order to expand all varying different sectors, imagine the global economy when we are able to do that and utilise that within any and all industries. in building, in vehicles as we're seeing, in medicine, in pharmaceuticals, just pick any, the hospitality industry, the care industry, all these different aspects of the doors that it will open and the vastly expanding growth of sectors, the economy, and thinking of the benefits that could have globally on the quality of life for all civilization, for all humans on Earth. So there are the 6 reasons. Potentially you don't agree, potentially you do agree. So let me know in the comments below. Is there anything I've missed out in terms of what would make Tesla worth 10 trillion as a company? Or do you disagree? Do you think I'm completely out of my mind imagining Tesla to be worth 10 trillion? Personally, I don't think I am, but then if I did, that would be quite concerning. And as I said, like, I do think 10 trillion isn't something that will set the bar, and I don't think that will be the limit either. We'll start to see that go beyond. But when you think the global economy, as I said, is somewhere in the region of 100 trillion right now, the concept of a $10 trillion company, when we've seen the largest reach of just in excess of 2 trillion, I say just 2 trillion, tiny company. But when we see that as being the world's largest company we have seen, and I'm talking about a company that's just hit 1 trillion, reaching 10 times that, to be 5 times the size of any company we've seen on this earth, I can appreciate it's what would appear to be a crazy remark. But when? So when do I see this? I said at the start I was sort of talking to when I see this coming. In order for this to be achieved, we'd have to see robo taxis across the globe running seamlessly, efficiently, without error. And when we look at like fatalities in traffic collisions caused by human error at the moment, we'd have to see that down to almost nil. So global robo-taxis operating, a rollout of Fsd software that's licensed to other companies to utilise, auto bidder software that is rolling out globally with the mass adoption of renewable energy to a point where we are disbanded with non-renewables, your coal, your fossil fuels, etc., to a point where we are globally running on renewable energy, strapped in with all the technology that comes with that, the battery software to store the energy, with the auto bidder working globally. Tesla bots into the millions. I think, yeah, get Tesla bots into the millions, utilising their capabilities and starting to see them replace the labour workforce of humans. Start to see rollouts of, not even will you see it as a pedestrian or as a civilian, but start to become aware of Tesla actually being able to collect data on behalf of councils, private companies. That'll become quite a nerding thing in terms of privatisation of your own data and ownership of your own data and your own whereabouts and knowing, and the idea of having cameras on you constantly. But a whole new challenge that we'll have for the world. Dojo as a service. Once we've got all of these rolling out, I think this is something that you'll see happening in the 2030s. Definitely, I think before 2040, but 2030 I think is well, that's 9 years from now. But seeing the progress and the exponential growth that's coming along with this technology here, and the declining cost curves, like especially seeing the global adoption of EVs, is something that's really blowing my mind in how quickly it's actually happening. And I knew it'd be quick, but wow, it is really quick. So let me know, when do you agree, when do you think Tesla will become worth $10 trillion? And if you have shares, perfect. It'll be a good life for you. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please drop a like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.